Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today, by popular demand, we are reviewing every single Machine Head album. All of them. All of them. All of them! I need a drink. Do you need a drink? I need a drink. 1 minute. Who drank all my whiskey? Where did my whiskey go? I need my whiskey! I ended up making myself a screwdriver, because, why not? I had orange juice, I had vodka, and I don't have whiskey, and I wanted whiskey. This will do. Cheers. Oh, that's definitely way more vodka than it is orange. God damn. Okay, here's the thing, y'all. I've never really been the biggest fan of Machine Head. I've always thought they were just kind of mid. I always thought they were just kind of meh, whatever. I don't really care. I don't really have any strong feelings for or opinions on Machine Head one way or another, and most of their albums would be scored somewhere between 2.5 out of 5 and 3.5 out of 5, and I feel that some albums kind of blur together with other albums, and I fear that doing a normal reviewing every album style video is just going to result in a lot of the same talking points and scores. So instead, we're going to switch things up. We're going to do what we did in the reviewing every Dream Theater album video, where instead of giving each album a score out of 5, I'm going to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs up obviously means that I like the album, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of Machine Head, I would genuinely want to re-listen to this album again, or I feel it has something interesting to say or something interesting to offer. Thumbs down obviously means the opposite. I don't like Machine Head, and this album really didn't do anything to change my mind. I would not listen to this album again. I just wouldn't. Other than that, it's business as usual. We are not talking about demos, EPs, live albums, or compilations, or anything released by any kind of solo or side project. I am interested only in the 10 studio albums that Machine Head has released thus far, and yes, that does mean we will not be talking about their upcoming album, Unatoned, today. If you wish to hear more about that album, you will have to just wait for the album review, which will be out in a week and a half or so anyway. You can wait that long. You can wait that long. You're a big boy or girl or other. You'll be fine. Figure it out. Come on, make yourself a drink. Join the party. Let's go. Reviewing every Machine Head album. This might have been a mistake. First up, we have Burn My Eyes, released in August 1994 via Roadrunner Records. This is Machine Head's debut full-length studio album, and it is still to this day considered one of their best. And I don't know if I'm fully inclined to agree, but I'm also not fully inclined to disagree. We're starting off with a bit of a hot take, but I'm not crazy on Burn My Eyes. It's solid. It's not gonna get a thumbs down, but I'm not blown away by it either. I'll say this, it fits the mood nicely, it does everything that it wants to do, that it needs to do, that y'all want it to do, that y'all need it to do. It's filled with chunky, muscular, aggressive, groovy riffage all the way through. Nice hefty pounding, mid-pace percussion, churning, gnarly-ass riffage, very in-your-face, abrasive vocals, everything with a little bit of a thrashy underbite to it as well. Parts of this do feel a little bit derivative of Pantera, particularly when it comes to certain, vocal cadences and techniques and guitar tones and such, and the album is overall pretty one-note. But there's still fun stuff here, Davidian, Old, Blood for Blood, A Rage to Overcome, 1,000 Lives, all mean, all filled with a good amount of groovy riffs and thrashy barrages, and occasionally we do have some more drawn out, moody kind of segments as well to provide a little bit of contrast and catharsis. By no means a masterpiece, not in my opinion, and contrary to what I'm sure some will argue and are arguing right now in the comments section, but overall, a pretty solid little fun, groovy 90s metal record. I'm feeling a solid thumbs up, This would not be playing at any party that I would host, but if I were at a party and someone was playing it, I would vibe with it, I would fuck with it, I would groove with it. You would not see me bitching and moaning and rolling my eyes with my arms across in the corner. Next up, we have The More Things Change, released in March 1997, once again via Roadrunner Records. And I don't really have a lot to say about this album that I haven't already said about Burn My Eyes, because these albums are pretty similar structurally, sonically, aesthetically, you know? Like, there are parts where it's a little groovier, a little bit more moody, but like, we're not really talking like a drastic improvement or departure in sound here. Like, comparing these two albums is like comparing a pierogi to a pot sticker. Like, they're technically not the same thing, but like, they kinda also are. You know what I mean? That's no disrespect to pierogies and pot stickers. I love pierogies. I love pot stickers. I don't love these albums, but I do like them equally. So, yeah. 10 Ton Hammer is, in my opinion, a really great album opener. I do kind of like the more alt-metal, kind of like weary melodies here, meshed with the groovy, thrashy riffage as well. And Bay of Pigs, Take My Scars, The Front Lines, Spine, all strong cuts. Spine benefits from having some slower, almost doomier progressions and draws as well, which I like. I will say that the closing number, Blood of the Zodiac, is a little bit too long for my personal liking, and that it also has some angsty, edgier moments that very unfortunately foreshadow the dreaded nu metal era of Machine Head, which we will be talking about immediately after this. But nevertheless, solid record, no major problems. I feel about it mostly the same way that I feel about Burn My Eyes. Thumbs up. We good. I wouldn't throw it on at a party, but if it were on at a party that I went to, I would groove with it, I would fuck with it, I'd be fine. Okay. Next up, we have The Burning Red, released in August 1999, once again via Roadrunner Records. I am not a big fan of Machine Head, as we've already discussed. I'm not really a big fan of nu metal, as we've discussed in the past. So this was kind of doomed from the start. I really don't know what the fuck Machine Head was thinking of this, man. Like, you want to go the nu metal route? Fine, whatever. I don't actually give that much of a fucking crap. Like, Sepultura pulled it off with Roots. Anything's fucking possible. But this, man, this is like the worst bits of like Deftones, Korn, and Limp Bizkit and very early Slipknot kind of thrown together in a blender and just like shat the fuck out. I do not care for the very exaggerated, angsty, breathy vocals. I do not care for the rapping and for the kind of funky beats sporadically thrown throughout. There's really not a single cut from start to finish on this album that I enjoy. It's all, in my opinion, just fucking crap. Desire to Fire, The Blood, Sweat, and Tears, the title track, The Burning Red, and especially Machine Head's cover of Message in a Bottle. What the fuck was Machine Head thinking with this? Holy fucking sweet goddamn Kentucky Fried fuck! Thumbs down! Thumbs fucking down, baby. All the way down. I'm not feeling it. I don't like it. Yikes. Yikes! And oh wow, I am such a lucky little boy because the Machine Head nu metal era party continues with Supercharger, released in October of 2001, once again via Roadrunner Records. I will say this. If you put a gun to my head and you told me I have to pick between The Burning Red or Supercharger, I will pick Supercharger. I don't think it's as bad or as cringe or as like eye-rollingly annoying as The Burning Red. Like, it's not as bad. It's not great, but it's not as bad. I do feel like Machine Head is actually trying to take some of the things that they did on Burn My Eyes and The More Things Change and blending that with the more full-on nu metal flavors and dynamics of The Burning Red. Not necessarily super successfully. There's still some dumb, cringe, awkward moments, but simultaneous to that, you do have some groovier, meaner, tighter, more raucous and fun riffage, and occasionally even a decent song. Like Bulldozer, for instance, I think that's kind of tight. It's got like a punky, thrashy kind of energy and charm to it, and I like some of those chunkier, groovier riffs, you know? It's angsty and stupid and edgy, but in all the right ways. I like Kick Me When You're Down and the title track and closing number, Supercharger, as well. There's some good, fun, heavy stuff there. But like then there's Nausea, which is filled with whimpering vocals and lame-ass fucking riffs. American High, which opens on what can only be described as like a native indigenous war cry. Not a fan, kinda cringe, pretty dumb. And God, Deafening Silence sucked so fucking bad. Jesus Christ, full-blown angsty tween metal territory, and I am not feeling it at the fuck all. I mean, yeah, I still like Supercharger a little bit more because it gave me a little bit more, but it's still a thumbs down. Yikes. No thank you. I would like to move on now, please. That'd be really great. Can we make that happen? Can we please make that happen? I would like that. Let me know! Next up, we are finally, or at least mostly, leaving the days of nu metal behind as we venture into Through the Ashes of the Empire, released in October 2003, once again via Roadrunner Records. Some of those angsty nu metal vibes and such do remain on this album, but for the most part, this is a full-blown return to the sound of Burn My Eyes and The More Things Change, and thank God for it. This is just way more fun. Straight up, through and through. I don't care if I sound like a stuck-up metal elitist who hates nu metal and blah blah blah. I don't care. I like this way more. I just do. I feel like Machine Head had a real fire up their ass with this one too, because like everything is just better. Everything is tighter, meaner, the hooks are better, and again, those angstier elements and angstier moments are meshed in better with everything else. Tracks like Left Unfinished and Bite the Bullet are great examples of what I'm talking about. And cuts like Imperium, Seasons Wither, Elegy, all good stuff. I like the more emotive moments and hooks and the anthemic qualities of cuts like Days Turn Blue Gray, what the fuck is it called? Days Turn Blue to Gray, and the closing number as well, Descend the Shades Tonight. This was an album I actually kind of liked when I first came to know of Machine Head, and an album that I actually listened to a little bit here and there in high school, so maybe I'm biased because I do have a bit of a nostalgic attachment, but, you know, I think it honestly holds up pretty well. I'm feeling a thumbs up. We're back in the thumbs up territory. Let's go. Let's see how long we stay here. I don't know. And now this brings us to the Blackening, released in March 2007, once again via Roadrunner Records. Most people seem to agree that this is Machine Head's best album, and I am inclined genuinely and actually to agree with that statement. I think the Blackening is a genuinely really good album. They just knocked it out of the park on this one, man. Best songwriting, best production, best riffs, the most emotive songs as well, some of the most dynamic songs, some of their most unique songs up to this point as well, like lots of varying riffs, lots of great hooks, lots of great moments. It's a great album, genuinely. If I were to buy a Machine Head album on vinyl, it would be this one. Like, right off the bat, that opening number, Clenching the Fists of Dissent, is filled with pissy, volatile thrash metal and some slower, moodier, groovy sections as well, doing a good job at going back and forth between these different movements and momentums and moods, and it's just a great fucking cut. I don't even mind that it's like 10.5 minutes long. It's awesome. No fat, no filler whatsoever here. And then there's Beautiful Morning, which does a great job at pairing some angsty melodies with some really ferocious, thrashy riffage. And then there's Aesthetic of Hate, which is kind of like a diss track of sorts. In a way, it was written in response to an article about the murder of Dimebag Darrell called Aesthetics and Hate, Rest in Peace Dimebag, and Good Riddance. And like, you can just feel the rage and bitterness and contempt that Rob Flynn has for the guy that wrote that fucking article in this fucking song. Like, like this song is basically just a giant how fucking dare you in sonic form. And honestly, Halo and A Farewell to Arms might be two of the best songs Machine Head have ever fucking written. Honest to fucking God. To be honest, I think Machine Head peaked here. There's nothing else they've done since that is even close to this album. It is their best album overall. Very, very strong, very high thumbs up. If we were actually giving this a score out of 5, we'd be looking at maybe a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a great record. It kicks fucking ass. Definitely check it out if you have not done so already. But you probably have, because it's a very popular album from a very popular band. So, yeah, but hey, who knows? Just in case, now you know, check it out. I probably shouldn't drink more, but I want to. So I will. Next up, we have Unto the Locust, released in September 2011, once again via Roadrunner Records. This is another really great album. Not as great as The Blackening, that's still their best, not up for debate, not in my opinion at least, but it is a great album, and it's clear to me that Machine Head were really trying to capitalize on and take advantage of the success and momentum of The Blackening. They wanted to do something bigger, something bolder, and, you know, they came bloody well close, I can't lie. Like, Unto the Locust has some great parts, but The Blackening is still gold medal, but maybe this is silver medal, honest to God, for me at least. Love how mean and menacing it is. Love how in-your-face and unapologetic it is. I love the, like, churning, grinding, almost death metal-esque riffage that can be heard here and there in The Locust. Like, there's some gnarly riffs that really wouldn't be out of place on a modern-day Cannibal Corpse cut. I like some of those more epic, almost like choral, heavenly style elements of I Am Hell Sonata in C Sharp, mixed in with the brazen, bloodthirsty thrash and groove. And honestly, there's some pretty technical and smart and robust songcraft in riffage in Darkness Within and Who We Are that rivals some of the best moments on The Blackening. Like, it has been a while since I heard these cuts, and they hold up really fucking well. Once again, a very solid thumbs up. The Blackening is still number 1 for me, but Unto the Locust is a very, very, very solid number 2. Like, honestly, it is a great album. Check this out as well if you have not done so already. Next up, we have Bloodstone and Diamonds, released in November 2014, this time via Nuclear Blast Records. This is Machine Head's biggest album, clocking in at 70 minutes with no bonus tracks or nothing, and this is also where Machine Head started to get a little bit more political and provocative with some of their lyricism, which, as we all know, is automatically bad, especially when it's liberal, left-wing politics and beliefs being discussed. Bands aren't allowed to be political unless it's hyper-conservative bordering on far-right bullshit. But that's a conversation for another time. Does this actually matter? No. If you liked Unto the Locust and if you like The Blackening, there's not much a reason to actively dislike Bloodstone and Diamonds. It's very much more of the same, to the point where it's not really doing a lot for me. I feel like those albums were more dynamic, more engaging, more interesting. I feel like they had a lot less fat and filler, whereas I feel like with this one, Machine Head were just kind of like, throw it out there. I also feel like Machine Head are trying too hard to be so in-your-face and provocative. Like, it is kind of obnoxious to an extent where I'm just like, step back. It's okay. You don't need to be this much in my fucking business, alright? But like Now We Die, Killers and Kings, Game Over, these are legitimately pretty solid banging numbers. And I do appreciate Machine Head genuinely throwing a couple curveballs at us. Like, Beneath the Slit has these, like, slow, agonizing riffs with these, like, eerie, achy kind of vocals. And Sail to the Black is a genuinely pretty epic, adventurous, and ominous cut as well. Overall, I would say the pros outweigh the cons, and I would give this as a pretty solid thumbs up. This is actually a solid number 3. The Blackening number 1, Unto the Locust number 2, and then Bloodstone and Diamonds number 3. And now this brings us to Catharsis, released in January 2016, once again via Nuclear Blast Records. This is the album that nearly broke Machine Head. I'm not even kidding. This album was heavily criticized and outright dismissed by critics and peers and fans and metalheads and such all over the world. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who, like, really enjoys and will go to bat for this album. And it was so unpopular that even Phil Demmel and Dave McLean, longtime members of Machine Head, decided, you know what? Fuck it. we're out. They were very unhappy with the reception of the album. They were also very unhappy with the creation of the album and overall where they stood in Machine Head. They felt they didn't have much to do. They felt like they didn't really matter, so they got the fuck out of there. Mind you, Rob Flynn has always kind of been the face of Machine Head, but it definitely feels like more and more as the years went on, he was taking more and more creative control over what Machine Head was doing, and he was also, on this particular album, pulling more influence from hardcore punk and hip-hop. He admitted that he wasn't listening to a lot of metal at this time, which in theory isn't a bad thing. There's no shame in bringing in outside influences from other areas. In execution, however, we got kind of a nu metal, groove metal hybrid album with a couple really provocative and cringy fucking moments. There's Razorblade Smile, which is filled with raunchy, raucous, edgy lyrical moments and cringy fucking transitions. There's Triple Beam, which is filled with like kind of this like breathy kind of like top rap sing kind of vocal flow and cadence and some like hyper muscular gym bro riffage. And then, of course, the infamous Bastards, which is Machine Head's attempt at kind of like a Dropkick Murphys style kind of like protest rock metal anthem of sorts, and it's bad. It's preachy, it's lame, it's really dumb, it has aged really fucking poorly. It sucks so fucking hard, bro. There are at least a few kind of decent, gnarly, thrashy, groovy moments here and there, but not enough to warrant sitting through the whole fucking thing, which is 74 fucking minutes long, come to think of it, making it even bigger than Bloodstone and Diamonds. Thumbs down. We're back in the thumbs down territory. We had a good ride with a lot of thumbs up albums, but now we're back pretty firmly in thumbs down territory. The album that broke Machine Head, and it's very easy to see why. It ain't good. And finally, we can start wrapping things up with Of Kingdom and Crown, released in August 2022, once again via Nuclear Blast Records, and also now Imperium. Wow! Now Machine Head has Vogue from Decapitated on guitar, and also Naveen Koperweiss, who's worked with Whitechapel, Animals as Leaders, Job for a Cowboy, and Entheos on drums. The result, right off the bat, is a much heavier and much more technical sound with more complex, nuanced rhythms and riffs and grooves and beats all across the board. It is a genuinely pretty intense and visceral record at times. Like, there are some pretty satisfying, hefty, brutal moments. I mean, Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate, just like by itself, is filled with genuinely enough sick, gnarly riffs to almost make you forget about Catharsis. Almost. But, I don't know. I just kind of feel like this album is just kind of missing that special spark and special sauce and something that makes Machine Head. You know, no disrespect to Vogue, Naveen, they did their best. But, like, I don't know, the actual songcraft and songwriting here, it's just not really doing anything for me. And I feel like the concept of this album, about, like, a futuristic, sci-fi, dystopian world, it's a little too much for its own good. You get lost in some of the details. It's inspired by, like, Attack on Titan and shit. And I'm also just distracted by, like, some of the edgy, cringy bits still remaining, some of the weird, like, vocal elements, some of the lame-ass fucking breakdowns, dry fucking vocals here and there, Rob Flynn showing his age and goofiness and cringiness in a lot of key points here, even though this is a more focused and heavier record. And I also just feel like this album is trying way too hard to compensate for the failure that is Catharsis, always throwing different riffs and harmonies and beats and little shits at you everywhere. Like, this very much feels like a throw shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of album. But hey, that's just me. There's definitely still parts of, like, Become the Firestorm and My Hands Are Empty and Unhallowed and all that to enjoy. I don't know if I'm feeling a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this. I think we're just kind of, like, right in the middle, you know? Like, undecided, you know? I don't know. But gun to my head, it's a little bit up, I guess. A little bit. But mostly I'm just kind of like, eh. The most of the Machine Head discography. A lot of good, a lot of not good, a lot of eh. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know why. I feel like I should, but I'm just not. Whatever. Yeah. Cool. All right. We're done here. We did it. Reviewing every Machine Head album. Yeah! I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. I mean, I definitely did not enjoy revisiting the Burning Red and Catharsis and all that. But, you know, Bloodstone and Diamonds, Under the Locust, better than I remember. Of Kingdom and Crown, you know what? I can appreciate what they were trying to do, even if it didn't work out for me. And there's a certain charm to older records like Burn My Eyes and Through the Ashes of the Empire or whatever the fuck. You know, like there's... I don't hate them, even if it's not my thing. I wouldn't buy those albums on vinyl, but like, I don't hate them. I enjoyed them. I fucked with them. I vibed with them. That's it for me. Let me know what you think of all of these albums from Machine Head. How would you rate them? How would you rank them? What is your favorite Machine Head album? What is your least favorite Machine Head album? Yada, 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 so on and so forth. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with my nonsense. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day. Yeah! Ah! Whew. God, I love alcohol.